Let's go now. He might say something interesting here. This is Luke Beveridge's press conference right now.
Righto.
Did that feel like a bit of a missed opportunity given the work you've done to have that 4-goal lead in the third?
Yeah, kind of, Riley, but I just feel like they are too even with their individuals, and we're comfortable with our strategy, implementation of it by and large, but ultimately, you know, the opportunities and not being able to capitalise after we had that momentum really told, and then their sort of trademark connection stuff inside their own 50s started to come to the fore, and they made the most of it. So disappointing night, all in all.
Did it feel similar to the grand final in the sense that you've done the work to get yourself in front, then the momentum sort of shifted pretty rapidly?
Not really. I mean, we did our mids, and Tim in particular did an outstanding job at centre bounce, you know, and didn't feel like we put our backs under any duress with any of their clearances out of there. I think, you know, the differential there was considerably in our favour. We'd kicked 3 goals up to half-time from centre bounce, so obviously that was a key factor, you know, in the last game we played them. So it didn't really feel like that at all. It just felt like when we went forward, you know, we didn't connect, and then, you know, they went the length of the ground, and you know, and were able to capitalise. You know, if it wasn't, I thought our cohesion team defensively at different times was pretty good, but just our ball use waned as the game went on. It wasn't flash early, but there's a couple of sliding doors moments, you know, where the play on inside 50 and the drop mark inside 50 that handed them a bit of momentum, and from those two, they probably didn't look back.
Sort of have to get around like Josh to sort of just get his chin up and keep his spirits up after those moments.
Which Josh?
So Josh Yaki.
Yeah. Josh had an important role tonight, and he moved around a bit. But you know, I think for his involvements in the game, you know, he'd want more out of those, and we've got to keep working with him on that and getting himself in some good spots. And he played in areas of the ground we needed him to. Obviously, we went in with a bit of a strategy around the one ruck and some pinch hit. We felt like that was working. He was caught up in that, but yeah, as the weeks go on, hopefully, you know, he keeps emerging.
Well, can you talk us through the events of the last few days with a few players, JJ, Martin, Lockie Hunter, you know, in and out of the team. Melbourne was similar as well. Is that just normal round one preparation to, you know, be uncertain, I guess, at how you're going to prepare?
You've got the nerve to ask me a question and even be here. So you've been preying on us the last 2 times. You barracked for Melbourne, Tom Morris, been preying on us. You've been opening us up, causing turmoil within our football club by declaring our team well before it needs to be declared. Is that the way Fox want you to operate?
Yeah,
is that what you're doing? Is that the gutter journalist you want to be?
No.
Is that who you want to be?
If you let me answer,
right?
Luke.
So we went in with a plan. We had some late stuff go on with JJ, unfortunately, coming out in the warm-up. Everything other than that was according to plan from the Sunday, which somehow you've found out about again. So we need to get to the bottom of this. Obviously, we need to put our hand up and say that there's some leakage going on, but you're preying on it. And it's a team you barrack for. Your conflict of interest here is considerable. And yet your gutter journalism at the moment is killing us and behind the scenes. This is why the health and well-being of people in the game is caught up in all this stuff, you know, because we've got things to concentrate on performance-wise. We've got to look after our own, and then you cause all this muckraking trash that happens behind the scenes, and names get brought up into it, and all we're doing is planning for a football game. I can't. Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're proud of yourself.
Yeah, Fox backs me.
Wow.
And to be honest,
no, that's enough. That's enough. Next question, please. Next question, mate. You're not welcome.
No, this is the AFL's press conference, and I'll sit
what?
here.
It's
the
what,
AFL's press conference.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you got enough, boys and girls.
To the next question.
I think we're probably done, aren't we? Okay, so this is what happens, because I know, and I know Sam Edmund does it, you know, I know many of you, Riley, I know you'd do it. If you found something out, you'd ring Adrian Shed and say, look, I know this, just so you know that I know. Something's happened, it's got out, and the courtesy and the integrity and the ethical way to go about it has happened in the past. Now, this bloke here, and what he's doing, he's giving everyone else a bad name. You know, and right where we're trying to stabilise our competition and what we do with everything that's gone behind the scenes, and us, you know, as coaches and a football program, with the soft cap situation as it is, and this sort of stuff happens. You're an embarrassment to what you do, mate. You're an embarrassment. An absolute embarrassment.
Well, we sit here and a little stunned and a little shocked, to be perfectly honest. We had a bit of fun about the fact that Tom was going to go into the press conference we didn't expect, or I didn't anticipate that sort of reaction. An overreaction from where I sit on the basis of Tom Morris being able to break a story about a player not being selected in a team. And I'll get both of your thoughts on this. He's our man and we back our man, right? And I thought that was, to describe him as a gutter journalist was way over the top. That's the way I read that, my first reaction.
No, it's poor form, absolutely. Tom Morris is there to do his job. Bevo's there to coach the football team. Tom Morris is there to get news about our great game. It was about a drop player. It wasn't about a mental health issue or anything like that. Tom is there to find out information, which he double checks and he clarifies. We know he does his work behind the scenes. So you'd absolutely back Tom for what he's done, and I don't think he was out of line at any stage.
And call into his question his integrity, because he may or may not support the Melbourne Footy Club.
He's out of line again. So to say he's got a conflict of interest because the Bulldogs were playing Melbourne is out of line. So muckraking trash was the terminology that Bevo used. I think Bevo's just lost his composure there, been under a bit of pressure or whatever. Because to report, and Bucks, I'm really interested in your take on this as a coach who.
What's the only take that matters?
That's right, because you guys are under the pressure. You've sat in the seat. You know what it's like to report on. We're talking about a player that's been dropped from the side. Yeah. We're not talking about, as you said, a player's medical issues or mental health or anything like that. I think Bevo overstepped.
So your immediate reaction?
I was stunned because he's departed from the normal coach's playbook, which is to not shine a light on those things. He's admitted that there's information getting out of his own football club that he's not happy about. I mean, and to say that Tom has taken advantage of that, it's like putting an Easter egg in front of a 5-year-old kid and expecting him not to eat it when you walk out of the room. I mean, it's there. It's a free hit, and that is Tom's job, is to share information that comes across, to check it and verify it, and then to share it. Look, I understand Bevo's perspective, and because virtually in a coach's position, you don't want any information. You want to control all the information in your football club, and when you can't do it, it agitates you.
Understand. We understand that, but it's not.
And often the coach he'll be agitated, but he won't share that. I mean, he shared it, and he was quite direct with Tom.
Yeah,
in that, very direct. Yeah. But that's abnormal. We don't see that very often, and there's going to be ramifications from that, because that is...
So inside the football club, because as soon as you start pointing the finger at leakages within the football club, the concern is it causes distrust. All of a sudden, within the organisation we're talking, now people are looking, going, oh, hang on a minute, are you revealing information? Are you revealing information? That was alarm bells.
I like it when the stories from the day or the night come from the grass, come from what's happening on that side of the white line. I mean, unfortunately, this is a big story out of tonight, and this is going to be replayed.
Has he let himself down? Has he let him and the coaching fraternity down?
Bevo has a great belief in his side, in his squad, in the way that he sees things, and he's a dog at a bone. Like Tom got that information and shared it, because that's in his nature and his job.
His job.
Bevo sees this as something that he needs to address, and he's just put it out there. I think that I'm not surprised that he's done that, because I think he's very passionate about his football club, and he wants to stamp out the leaky information that he was talking about.
So if he's gone that hard at the journalists that reported it, how hard is he going internally to get to the bottom of where it came from.
Now we're not talking about footy.
But that's right. But would you expect
him? And Luke has caused that of his own volition. He chose to do what he did. Now that's an emotional response, and he's created something that he's now going to have to handle and deal with over the next 2 or 3 days, maybe longer.
Gutted journalist, he's got him a gutted journalist and a muckraker, and questioned his integrity for doing his job. Now that's a poor reflection on him as a coach, I think, in this instance. And I know Luke, I know him well, I know how passionate he is, I know how hard he defends his turf. I think he's let himself down in this instance. The AFL will look upon this too. As Tom pointed out, Luke doesn't get to invite who comes to the press conference and who asks the questions. It's an AFL press conference. And then to wind it up in the manner that he did.
And let's keep circling back to what we're talking about. We're talking about a player getting dropped from a round one team. Like it's not high on the list of things that you can report on in AFL world, really, is it? So the backstory of this was that Tom knew that Ryan Gardner wasn't playing in the grand final, and ran with that. So this is the next game that the Bulldogs are playing, and it's run with again.
But every journalist in grand final week, worth his salt, is trying to find out what the grand final team is.
Yes, and
no problem with
that. And that is a fact. But that's what's sitting.
But you've got to be better than that, don't you?
Yeah, well, no, I agree. That surprised and amazed me. I mean, I was sitting back here. I had to get told to pick up the mic. I just could not believe what I was seeing, because that is not what we have come to know. It's not what we've come to expect. There's got to be respect both ways. You've got to understand that there's jobs to do. It's a big industry. I'm a healthy cynic of sometimes
I know you are,
of how we,
and that's okay. I think that some of your I think that's coaching mentality. Sometimes there's a siege mentality around it. We've spoken about this, rightly or wrongly. I'm sure sometimes the media get it wrong, and there is undue pressures on you.
But to personify it and to try and put it on one person, when I think it is an industry-wide issue.
I think there's something in that too. I mean, that was a pretty public national attack on Tom.
I'm not sure.
Are you expecting ramifications for Luke Beveridge?
I think the AFL won't like that one bit, and nor should they, and nor will the coaches, the media, AFL Media Association won't like that one bit. I know people never barrack for the journalists, and that's people go, there'll be a talk back tomorrow morning on radio, we'll just light up, got your right whack. That it's a respect industry that we're in, and like it or not, Tom was doing nothing other than his job, and I think I don't think in the Western Bulldogs, I don't think Peter Gordon or the president of the Western Bulldogs will be too impressed with that.
I know he laughed about it before the press conference, didn't realise that was going to happen, but Tommy had his big boy pants on.
Yeah, he stood up.
He stood up for himself.
He could have used you in the press.
Didn't need me by the sounds of things.
He stood his ground.
The only thing we've seen close to that was Mick Malthouse and Mark Stevens, and that carried on. But that was like subtweeting, wasn't it? Subtexting.
And the disappointing thing
in your face
is, as you rightly point out, takes our focus away from what was a really good game of footy. But anyway, that's the way the media cycle works, and it's going to be a big issue that we're going to deal with. Probably still talking about it tomorrow night. No, let's hope not, by the time Carlton Richmond come around, because that'll be a beauty as well, and you'll see it all live at Break Free right here on Fox Footy.